So far, James Gunn's DCU has been amazing, but my biggest complaint is how I've never felt so left in the dark as a viewer about what's going to happen next. Sure, we get project announcements or names for directors every now and then, but we don't really have a structured timeline to follow for what to expect. So in this video, I'll be giving my ideas for the future projects, characters, and storylines for the DCU, and what I'm hoping to expect in the future. And maybe, just maybe, any directors or anyone on the high chain of command at Warner Brothers will see this video and know what the fans want. So sit back, relax, and let's jab into it. Wait, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free, and it's the best way you can support me as a creator. Alright, let's really jab into this. Though they have announced the Booster Gold series, we don't really know anything about this besides the rumors of Kumail Ali Nanjiani starring Booster Gold, which I don't really have any strong feelings on. Booster Gold, aka Michael John Carter, was a football star from the 25th century who went down a bad road, and after getting his hands on time-traveling technology, goes back in time to the present to become a cool celebrity superhero. Later on, he learns what it means to become a true hero with help from his best friend, Ted Kord. I love Booster Gold as a character, and his overall character arc since I've seen him in Batman Brave and the Bold. Since Ted Kord Blue Beetle is already existing in the DCU, I would assume he is too. So I think the smart thing to do is to have two separate projects for Booster Gold. One taking place in the past and one taking place in the future. The first project would be a TV show which takes place in the early days of Booster and Ted, called something like Blue and Gold, which adopts the same storyline from the comics, but also a backstory for both Ted Kord and Michael. I think I would even be fine if it was just a series highlighting all the wacky adventures they go on together. For Booster Gold, I want to see something similar to A-Train's storyline in The Boys, which was done so perfectly. The idea of going from a performative hero to a legend is such a powerful story, which can make such an impact on the big screen. My second idea for a more present project for Booster Gold would be loosely based on the Booster Gold run from 2007 to 2008 from the New 52. Whoa, that was a lot of twos. But anyway, the plot would be either by himself or with Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, they would travel throughout time to find Ted Kord, his best friend. Basically, Booster and Jaime bond as friends, while Booster becomes a sort of mentor for him after being so close with his predecessor. And after finding Ted, they find out he made some type of sacrifice where he can't go to the present. Booster's whole arc would be about letting go of the past and that he can't save everyone, while adapting to the future legacy. I don't really have a good idea for a name for this series, besides just Booster Gold, so leave a comment down below for what would be a good name. I think both the series and this would be a long-awaited adaptation for Booster in live action that fans have been waiting for years. The Wonder Twins are characters who actually debuted not from the comics, but from the 1977 Super Friends era, where they were supposed to be teenage heroes to broaden the type of characters in the show. Zan and Jaina are orphan twins from outer space from the planet Exor. The Exorians were originally a race of shapeshifters, which eventually lost their powers. In the present time, the remaining Exorians hated the twins because of their shapeshifting, which they saw as outdated. After they fled and arrived on Earth, they were adopted by a circus which exploited their powers until they escaped with their space monkey, Gleek, as teenagers. Yeah, I know this is a pretty crazy origin story, but stay with me. The twins activate their powers by fist bumping, and when they do, Jaina can turn into any heterotrophic organism, whether fake, real, or from space, and Zan can turn into water, but any state of it. Yeah, it's not as cool in comparison. But despite their obscurity, they have really fun stories in the comics and almost appeared in the Arrowverse. I don't see them fitting anywhere in the DCU besides with the Teen Titans, and I would really love that. I think the Titans would give them the environment they need to learn how to be human and be around people not trying to exploit them, but genuine friends. Since the Titans movie is already announced, we might see this in the future if the gun is willing. No, not that gun, not that one either. There you go. With the Clayface series coming up, I'm excited to see what James Gunn has in store for characters within the Batman mythos, especially villains. This includes Hugo Strange. With the appearance of metahumans starting to become prevalent, I think he could be the cause of monsters and other superpowered villains coming from Gotham. I don't really have any set projects for Hugo alone, but I think he would be great in Clayface and other dark stories including Batman. Maybe there could even be a series called Arkham that just sees the madness that goes on within Arkham Asylum. This could highlight the psychosis of the people behind the bars, and how though some villains are genuinely evil, some are just suffering from intense mental problems. I think Hugo Strange would strive in this series, and maybe there could even be references to characters like Harley Quinn or Scarecrow. Okay. Even though they aren't a package deal and can work well individually, I think when together they really shine. While Dinah is independent, grounded, and disciplined, Oliver is loud, stubborn, idealistic, and sometimes reckless. Together, it's just peak cinema. I think I would like to see a project that really highlights their relationship to the point where it feels like a rom-com. Okay, maybe not that far, but just a grounded story that plays off of their dynamic and also political and related to the problems of society. Because that duo, but especially Green Arrow, has always had those type of ties. I would love it if they adopted the Green Arrow, Black Canary for better or worse storyline, or even better with the Longbow Hunters, which with a few adjustments could fit the DCU really well. Shorio Boyo17, #1 Green Arrow fan by the way, actually made a video about Green Arrow in the DCU already, so check that out because he really does a great job going into depth of characters and just writing for each movie. But watch that video after you watch this video, of course, because I'm cool too. Speaking of green, I know we already have the Lantern series coming out this year with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and it looks okay, just lacking the whole green that makes Green Lantern. But the thing about the Green Lantern Corps is there are hundreds of different people that take up the mantle of Green Lantern, so I don't know if I'll ever be satisfied if these are the only two in the whole series and one of them is almost confirmed to die. Yeah, Guy Gardner is probably going to be in the show, but for being realistic, he'd be in maybe 1 or 2 episodes. So all they have to do is have the post-credit scene be a ring flying to the outside of an art studio, and I'll be happy. Or if they're feeling really crazy, introduce Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, characters who have not been adapted together, crazy enough. In terms of storylines I'd want them to adapt, the popular Blackest Night storyline is my first option, which I think is just perfection. But I also hope, though unlikely, they adapt the Green Lantern and Green Arrow comic, which is just generational and is my definitive comic for both characters. I recommend you read both comics I listed, so I'm not going to go into deep spoilers about what's going to happen. Nick Hippo actually did a really good video for Green Lantern in the DCU, so check that video out too. But you know, after you're done this video again. Despite their many adaptations, we have yet to get an actually good version of the Legion of Superheroes. If you didn't know, the Legion is a group of heroes in the distant future. It contains characters like Mon-El, a Prince of Daxam, which is a planet near Krypton with similar powers, Brainiac 5, a better copy of the present's Brainiac, and Saturn Girl, a telepath with powers similar to the Marvel's Invisible Woman, along with many other characters depending on the version. The Legion is a group with a lot of actually well-written comics, yet what keeps getting adapted is Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes, which isn't bad, but it's getting repetitive and boring. Yeah, with Supergirl already in the DCU and her movies coming out this summer, they could do this. But I would wait a few years to settle down as a universe before introducing such an advanced group. I would love to see the Legion foreshadow some form of problem going to happen in the present day, as a way to connect with the projects taking place in our century before they go back in time. I would even want the lineup to include an older version of Superman, similar to what they did in Batman Beyond. Actually, what the heck, just throw in Batman Beyond into the roster. I don't care if the timeline doesn't fit, I'm still mad we didn't get that animated movie. But at least you got this. Just do them right, James Gunn, and use time travel correctly. I don't really have a lot to say about Firestorm besides what I want for him in the DCU. We have gotten some good adaptations of Firestorm in the past, but the only thing that makes me mad is how he mostly used Fire Blast and not his actual power in the Arrowverse. I digress. Firestorm is a character created in 1978 by Gary Conway and Ali Milgrom. Hot-headed teenager Ronnie Raymond and Nobel Prize-winning scientist Martin Stein get caught in a nuclear accident, fusing their atoms together. When apart, they're normal humans with a mental link between them, but when they fuse, they become a literal hothead that gets super strength, energy manipulation, and can manipulate atomic structures of anything. Also, survival of the fittest, so they use the body of Ronnie while they combine minds, having Martin in his head. My vision for this character is a series where Ronnie and Martin have to learn how to work together, and while Martin learns how to humble himself and become more youthful, well, youthful at heart at least, Ronnie learns to control himself and his anger, and together they become a legendary hero. Then, maybe, in some type of event, either 1 or 2 seasons in, Ronnie dies sacrificing himself. So Martin finds a new half in Jason Rush, a college student who wants to escape his abusive household. Together, Jason has to learn how to live up to Ronnie's legacy, and Martin has to learn to grieve. And the villain of the season would be Deathstorm, who takes the body of Ronnie, forcing Martin and Ronnie to become enemies after years together. This way, that storm can be done right and not whatever the CW is doing. James Gunn's DCU has potential to be one of the greatest sagas of movies and TV shows of all time, which isn't a high bar for DC because of how it ended up last time. But what projects are you looking forward to see in the DCU? I have way more ideas, so expect a part 2 sometime soon. Leave a character in the comments that I could talk about next time. Like, subscribe, and always let your fans know what's coming next so they don't have to make YouTube videos guessing.